beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name's Jennifer Diamond, and I live a whole food, plant-exclusive, SOFAs-free, gluten-free lifestyle for health and well-being, and it's been helping me heal. And today I thought we would talk about artichokes. So today I thought we would talk about artichokes, and artichokes are an amazing vegetable. There come in so many types of artichokes. These happen to be artichokes that are called the globe artichoke, and my understanding is that there's over 50 varieties of globe artichokes. There's also Jerusalem artichokes, and there's also Chinese artichokes, and just so many other artichokes that I probably don't even know about. But the ones that are most common in my area are the globe. And on occasion, I've heard we could get Jerusalem artichokes, but today I have some globe artichokes that I got from my local grocery store, and I decided to share about how I prepare artichokes and a little bit about artichokes because not too long ago, I was on a trip, a vacation with my family, and we went to celebrate another family member's birthday, and we met them in a different state, and we were at a restaurant. And I always try to travel with my own food when I'm able to, and I had my own food in a bag, in a cooler bag. And so anyhow, I was pulling out my cooked food to put on a plate while everyone else ordered from the restaurant. And one of the things I pulled out of the bag was a cooked artichoke, a globe one that looked just like this. And there was another person that was a friend that I had never met that said, "Oh, wow, is that an artichoke?" And I said, "Yes." And they said they had never seen an artichoke in its regular full form, even though they ate artichokes. That person ate artichokes out of a can or a jar, and it was just the artichoke heart. And I thought, wow, I gotta talk about artichokes with you guys. So there are so many benefits of that are, come from artichokes. They're loaded with nutrients. They may improve cholesterol levels. They help blood pressure. They're great for digestion, and on and on and on. They're really a great anti-inflammatory food. I really like to eat them because I have autoimmune, and I understand that it can help reduce inflammation. Plus, I think they're so tasty. And there's so many different ways to eat the artichoke. But before we go into that, I just want to talk about, this grows in this, like right here is attached, and it's the center of a plant that has these beautiful leaves, and then out comes what you would think would be a flower, and it grows into this part. And then, they harvest it by cutting it right under here where this stem is edible. And inside the artichoke, after you remove the leaves when you eat them, at the very, very base, probably around this area here, is this little fuzzy stuff that is not edible. And then there's what they call the artichoke heart, which is my favorite part of the artichoke. And that is completely edible. And the stem is edible. It's more fibrous. Some people don't really care for it. Some people do. One of my daughters loves the stem and doesn't like the heart. So we used to trade. I would give her my stem and she would give me her heart, and we would eat the artichokes that way. The leaves going up are edible at the base. So this part right here, this part isn't edible, but once it's cooked, they peel off gently, and inside, which we'll see later when they're cooked, this base part is the edible part, and it tastes and is just like the heart. And that's basically the parts that you can eat and not eat. Now, if you did not harvest the artichoke and it was on the plant, eventually this would open up and out would come the fuzzy, inedible part that's above the heart. I think it just grows up and it opens up, and it is this most magnificent, beautiful, purple colored fuzziness. And that's just also beautiful just to look at if you didn't get a chance to harvest it on time. I will link a photo and let you know. But you know, besides eating it plain, you can take the heart. Let's say if you ate the leaves and you were full, and you could take the heart and do other things with it. I often put it on pizza, and I will link my potato crust veggie pizza and show you, you know, how, if you haven't seen that, how I add artichoke and all kinds of other vegetables. But you can eat it cold, you can eat it hot, you do need to cook it. So let's get started on how do we bring this home and what do we do with this to get this cooking. So the first thing you're going to want to do is wash it. And I am going to go lean over to the stove, and I'm going to let running water go right through the top, and I'm going to kind of pull the leaves a little bit while the water runs through to kind of just get it, any kind of debris as best I can out. So let me do that. And maybe you can see this. Just want to really do a nice rinsing. And then, of course, you want to let it just drain as much water out as you can. Now, you want to be careful about the tips because they have sharp little, like little claws, actually. That one, it doesn't show it as much. Let me see this one again. Well, we got lucky because they don't really have them, but some of them have these little tiny like claws or little nails, and they can poke you. And so we are going to take care of those in a moment. Let me rinse the other one best that we can. I'm trying to figure out what they feel like. Not really rubbery, but you know, they've got some thick skin. So anyways, I have this cutting tool that I use, and you can use any kind of cooking scissor. I think it would be hard to do this if you were just using a knife, but what we do is we go to the leaf and we just cut off the edge, and that would include that nail or that pokey little sharp piece. And it doesn't take very long. You just go around, and I try to do it in layers, and just clip this. You can even clip off these little edge ones if you want, or you don't have to. It's really just to make sure that there's nothing that can poke you when you're trying to eat your beautiful artichoke. And this is the part that's inedible anyways. And I try to cut as much as I can until I get all the way to the top like this. And then at that point, let me grab my knife. And then at that point, I do take the knife and I just cut the tip off, because this is really too hard to pull back and get all these little grooves in. So, and then we have this beautifully ready to go, non-prickery artichoke. So some people, maybe you don't want the stem, or you don't have a pot that fits it, like you could cut the stem off at this point. But what I usually do is just cut the tip off, because you can see, you know, I don't know what cut this. Was it a rusty blade? Was it touching something? I mean, I just don't know. So I like to have it open and looking nice and fresh. Let me go ahead and take care of the other one. All right, there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the tip of this one as well. You could put those in your compost. You could even put these pieces in your broth that I collect my scraps to make broth. I have a video on that. I can link in the description if you haven't seen how I use my vegetable scraps to make broth. And you know, I think I'll put these in there. So here we are. We have the artichokes ready to go. And so when I was a kid, I'll tell you, my very first time I ever had an artichoke, I was probably about, I don't know, between age 5 and 6, maybe 4 to 6. And we had gone over to some friend's home, and this family, the mom made a nice dinner, and she served us all artichokes. And it was the first time I ever had one. And so they taught me how to do it. And they used to dip it in ketchup. And so I learned to dip it in ketchup. I currently, don't eat them that way, but, there are recipes for compliant ketchup, and I could do that. I taught my kids when they were little to eat them with ketchup, but I do know a lot of people typically dip them in butter or mayonnaise, and, there are so many other ways that are healthier to eat them, and including just eat the artichoke. So normally when I cook these, I like to cook them in this steamer. It's a tiny steamer. If I had a bigger steamer basket, that would be great, but I don't. And so how I normally cook them is I already put some water in here, and I put, about a third full of water, and then I put the steamer basket on top. This one has the holes. This is stainless steel. And then I would take the artichoke, and then I put it upside down, actually, and set it in here. Now, because of my pan, this stem sticks out. So sometimes I would cut the stem off and set it next to it and cook it. Sometimes, which I think I'm going to actually do, let's cut the stem down, just because of my pan or pot. So, and then I sit it in here, and then I can cover the lid. Wow, that worked really well. Sometimes the lid doesn't cover very well, and I have to tilt it a little so that, this is an exaggerated, just so you can see, I tilt it a little, and it still works out fine, but it is better if you can have it enclosed. Now, why do I turn it upside down in this particular situation? Because I want the steam to go up into it and make sure that it cooks. It will cook no matter what you do, but that's just what I do. And I put this on the stove, and I cook it for 20 or so minutes. I check, because usually I have to refill the water, and so I want to make sure that I do not run out of water, because that's about the halfway mark. And then I would check the water, and then I would continue to cook it. I could take a fork at that time, and I could poke the top and see if it's soft, this will go in. And that's how I usually do it. But I thought that I would also do it in the Instant Pot. So I'm gonna grab the Instant Pot, and let's do that as well. Okay, so now I have cooked them in the Instant Pot before, and for me, it wasn't that successful. And the reason why is because I overcooked it, I have undercooked it, because artichokes come in a lot of different sizes. And so depending on your size, you've got to kind of figure out how to do the settings. And so that's why I always, default back to this version where I have a little bit more control. But I bet you can master it. So let's open up the Instant Pot and plug it in and give it a little bit of water. Nice, there it's open, and we can connect it here, but because I want to be able to show you, I'm not going to have the lid on there right now. Here's the insert I have right here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is take about 1.5 cups of water. You can do 2 cups, and this happens to be a 6-quart Instant Pot, and then I'm going to get the trivet, which I forgot, or basket. 1 second. So this is the trivet that comes with the Instant Pot, and you could just set it right in here like this, and then you're ready to go. You can set the artichoke right in here. It does not have to be upside down. It could be sideways. And I've even seen people cook it where it's pointing up, but that's not gonna work if we leave our stem on. And you could fit in a few, however many, depending on the size of your artichoke and the size of your Instant Pot. But for today, we're just gonna be cooking the one, and then you can just put it in like that. Now, if you wanted or you had something other than the trivet, like my basket here, you could also use that. And I'll link in the description the basket that I have. I love it for cooking all kinds of things, and it's easy to pull out. But either one will work. And I'll just use the basket this time. And so something that I thought would be really fun to do is try to do some infusions into the water and see if it tastes any different. And so I have some things here that we could add, and sky's the limit. You can add seasonings of all sorts and spices, but I thought we would just try this, and I can actually add it to this water, or I could just do the water plain, and then I would add it to this water. So, but I've never done this before, so this is a new thing that we're doing together. So for now, I'm gonna lift this up, and what I was gonna do is take some onion. This is sweet onion that I just cut up into slices, and I'm just gonna put it right into the water here in the Instant Pot. And maybe I will do both. That'll be fun. I'll do both. So I'll put half in here, and you can do a quarter of a sweet onion to a half an onion in the container or in here. And I think I'm gonna do a quarter onion in each. Let me go ahead and do it at the same time. So I'm just doing sliced onion right in the water. Now this will be interesting because that one I sometimes have to add water to it. And in doing so, when you do it here and you do add water to it, you want to, of course, make sure it's before the water runs out, and pay attention to the temperature. So if I put cold water in here or room temperature water in here, it's going to have to take time again to get hot to continue to cook the artichoke. So if you find that you need to add water, if you can add already hot water, we'll just kind of keep things going without having to adjust the temperature again, but it can be done either way. Okay, so we've got our onion in both. I'm excited about this, guys, okay? And then I have a bay leaf. You can use 1 bay leaf, you can use 3 bay leaves. I'm gonna split it in half because I am cheap that way. I want to make things last. So I've got a half a bay leaf in there and a half a bay leaf in here. And I've got some fresh rosemary. I mean, you could use any kind of fresh herb, I think would be amazing. So I'm going to put a sprig into each one of those. I've got a little bit of garlic. So I'm going to chop the garlic just a little bit. What if you didn't have fresh garlic? That's okay. You can put in ginger. You could put in garlic and ginger. You could use garlic powder or granulates. It really doesn't matter. And, we're kind of experimenting today. So another thing that I think is a beautiful flavor with artichoke is lemon. And around here, we have a ton of lemons right now. So I was going to put some, I guess I'll just cut a little bit of lemon. I got a little wedge here. I'm just gonna squeeze it into my water and just squeeze and dump. Squeeze and dump. So, and I'm gonna do that with another wedge over here. I'm gonna just do squeeze and dump. And so let me just let you take a peek inside here. You could just see it's just water with that stuff. You could add thyme, which would be really great. And of course, if you don't have fresh, you can use dried rosemary. You could even, I wonder if you could even put in a serrano pepper and like spicy it up a little bit. Anything goes, but we're gonna go with a mild flavor. Now, look what I'm learning, that I gotta kind of make sure everything's level because because we don't want things sticking up and not letting this fill up. So you know what I'm gonna do? Add a little extra water to this. I think I'm gonna grab a little bit more from the Berkey, just to play it safe. It's still not touching the artichoke. You could see, hopefully you could see. Anyways, with a large artichoke, and I consider this to be a large artichoke. I mean, this looks pretty good. It's like, I don't know what its measurements are, but it's big. 25 minutes. And then I would do kind of like a natural release. If it was a medium size, I might do 15 to 18 minutes. If it was a small one, maybe 12 minutes. And this is just, like I said, a guess, which is why I haven't mastered it in the Instant Pot. So I'm gonna go ahead and check the water over here. This looks really good. I wanna show you. Got all my stuff in there. The water seems high enough. Let's see how this works with the artichoke standing. Remember how we had it standing up? Whoops. And I have the stem next to it. I'm gonna cover this. It fits fine. I went ahead and turned the fire on, and I've got it kind of set on high. I wanna make sure that the water gets going, and then I might go to medium. And so let's put the Instant Pot one on. 11 o'clock is how it'll fit in, and then I lock it in place. It said it was good because you heard the little jingle. Make sure that you put the venting onto seal, and then because this is a large one, I'm gonna go ahead and do 25 minutes. Now, if I find that it's not cooked, I'm gonna have to reseal it and put in a few more minutes. If I find that it's overcooked, well, then I get to eat an overcooked artichoke. Here we go. There we go, 25 minutes. It's gonna let me know when it heard my command and start, and then I will be back to check. Thank you, Instapot. I will be back to check on this guy, and I'll bring you along with, and then hopefully we'll be ready to talk about eating them. Okay, so I went ahead and turned down the flame on the stovetop artichoke, and it's at a medium, and let's give it a check together. See how it's doing. I'm gonna take a fork. I did some dishes and cleaned up, and so that's why I gotta get a fresh one. Ooh. First of all, I want you to take a look. There it is, but I wanna check the liquid. Let me see the liquid? There's still liquid in there, but it is getting low. So if we need to cook this longer, then I would go ahead and add liquid. Now I'm gonna show you how that goes through nice and easily. It's tender. Another indicator that it's cooked is if you take the leaf and it gently pulls off like that. And sometimes I try to do a few of the leaves and maybe even one that's up here, and it should just come right off like that. So I think maybe this is done. Hey, I thought it was gonna be halfway, but that's the thing about this. You never know, because there's no real measurement, like I said, about the size of the artichoke. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off and let this sit here for a minute. All I can recommend is that you just check it periodically. And you don't want to leave the house or walk away from it, you know, every 10 to 15 minutes, check the water level, check it, and until you get comfortable and kind of know, you know, the size and the vessel that you're cooking it in. Okay, now let's take a look here at the Instant Pot, which I'm gonna move back into the frame very carefully, and this is finished. So, whoa! So I'm gonna open the vent because it's just about empty, and see if this one is cooked as well. Okay. I always try to lift the lid and then lean it over to pour any condensation or liquid that's in the lid into the container. And then I always like to put that on there. But when we're together, I tend not to do that, just so that you could see what's going on. and let's take a peek. So I am going to pull the basket out. There's plenty of water in there. And here is our superstar, the artichoke. I'm gonna, well, it's very hot. I'm gonna just pull one of the leaves. See, look at this. That is not cooked. It is still attached. I mean, it's cooked, it's just not cooked enough. And that's why, for me, the Instant Pot with artichokes isn't my favorite way to do it. I am gonna check the bottom. It seems like it's good, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in. And this is another thing, like if this was a potato or something, I wouldn't worry about it overcooking. I feel like this could overcook. I'm even gonna turn it over maybe and pull from the other side. Yeah, no, it's just not, it's not coming apart. So that tells me it's not cooked all the way. So let's close this up and let's give it another 5 minutes. And in the meantime, we'll play with the other one. In the meantime, I had pulled off some of these leaves and I want to kind of show you, what that is. So this part here, I'm going to use a knife to show you. This part here where this white is, that's the edible part. Whenever I am serving an artichoke, I like to make sure that I have a bowl to put the artichoke in and another bowl to put the unedible parts, the leaves that I don't eat. And sometimes if I'm making this for more than just me, my husband or a family or anybody, I'll do a big bowl in the center and then we'll all put in our pieces that are discarding pieces that we're not going to eat. Okay, so here were our skins, and this is basically what you do. You put your bottom teeth on this bottom part right here, and you pull. Not that you wanted to see that, but I wanted to show that that's what it looks like. You scrape. It's basically scraping it off, and it's yummy. The whole stem is edible. And like I said, some people find that it's fibrous and they don't like it, and that's fine. I will eat it. And so look at this beautiful, I'm gonna even just for the picture, isn't that pretty? So different ways that you could eat the artichoke. You could eat it dipped in, you can eat it dipped in this. I made a dipping sauce. Here it is. Dip it in. Now, if this is for everyone, I would give everyone their own little container of dipping sauce. If you want a dipping sauce, we have this one. If you don't want a dipping sauce, you can always just use like fresh lemon. Sometimes I love fresh lemon. I just do a little squeeze of lemon, or you can squeeze some in a bowl and just dip it a little bit, and that's good. Honestly, most of the time, I just eat it how it comes. Just plain and simple. But, you can dip it in a compliant ketchup. I know there's lots of recipes to make a no salt, oil, sugar ketchup. You can even make them out of grapes. There's a million different things if you want that, if you need that. You can use creamy yogurt. You can, pretty much anything goes, but I just like them plain. Okay, so I want to kind of show you, let me move this here. After you continue to peel off all of these beautiful leaves and you eat all of this, this is good to show. Sometimes, there's like a little spot here, that might have been, it could have been anything. It could have even been like something that grew there in the field that it didn't wash off. Don't worry about it. You can cut it off or skip that one or just eat the bottom. But I want to show you about the heart. So I don't normally do it this way. I'm doing this to show it to you. I would eat the skin, peel the leaves off and eat them all the way down. But I don't think you want to watch me eat this whole thing because we'll be here for a while, which isn't a bad thing. But so I'm going to just quickly peel them off as if, and yow, they're hot. Oh my goodness. You know, these are a really great food for kids too. Who doesn't like to, you know, peel and use your hands and dip or, you know, pull? It's really a fun vegetable. And like I said earlier, so nutritious. Wow, it's hot. So give me just a minute, but we're getting down there and you can see that the outer leaves, you know, were much thicker and kind of different. And as we go in, they become narrow and it's all still good. They start to get, you know, this kind of a different shape at the bottom. Well, that's a bad example, you know, versus this. But these are great because they're like little scoops too. I think it's getting lost in its own skin. So I'm going to transfer over what we have left here and save these delicious pieces to eat once we're off camera, because I certainly will. And as you go down, look at that. You can start to see that the leaf has changed, right? Even on the edge here. Now it's becoming a brighter color at the bottom and even this purple at the top. And oh my goodness, look, a sticker was inside. Discard. Anyways, I don't even know how that could have happened, but it did. However it did. Maybe it was me. At any rate, here we are. And now we're almost to the heart. Okay, so now here we are. Now look at this. This is all edible. This top part is not. So for example, I still pull it, you know, but it's not the same as like this beginning one where you can, you know, you wouldn't be able to eat that at all. This one, you pretty much were able to. So these inside here are actually really pokey. I'm gonna try to show you. I don't know if you can see it that well, but there is right there. Looks like a needle. It's so sharp. And it's very, very tiny. And you want to be careful as you go in there because that was inside, there was no way to clip it back. And just be aware. And here you go. Look at this. We're starting to see the little fuzz that I was talking about. And that is not edible. And that is what I believe, if this wasn't harvested, this is what grows up out of the artichoke and becomes the most beautiful, vibrant purple I've ever seen on a plant. So greenish, you know, color. So now what do we do with this? Well, that's when I suggest you get out a spoon and you literally, I just, you know, kind of grab hold of it and I just kind of pull it and discard it. So I would put it in the pile that we have. And see, look at that. See, it just comes right off. And you just want to work around, you know. And it's fine. You can use a break because you just finished eating that entire artichoke. And so now it's like getting to the prize. I think it's like getting to the prize because the heart is my favorite. Now, the reason I like to pull is because if you just start scraping it and you haven't done this before, it's very easy to scrape half the part that is edible. So you just want to, you know, just take your time and just pull it off. Okay, so almost done here. And sometimes the center is a little tougher when you're scraping it out. So just take your time and just work it. Wow, and I mean, it's still hot for me. So there we go, look at that. This is a beautiful artichoke heart, the whole entire thing. And if it had the stem still attached, I mean, that's fine too, but you know, we cut it off. So let me put this aside. Let me put this in the discard pile. All right, so here we are. Now, you could cut this up. You could slice it up, and that's where you could put it in a salad, on a homemade pizza, anything really, a baked potato. You could add it to a stir fry. You could even put it in a tofu scrambler. Oh my God, would that not be delicious? Or you can pick it up with your hands, dip it, eat it plain, put some lemon on it. So I'm gonna eat it. Oh my God, my favorite. Just like that, the whole thing. But I'm also going to use this other side and dip it in here. Just because it's fun to dip sometimes, right? Yeah. But honestly, my favorite way to eat it is just how it comes. And let's take a peek at our Instant Pot and see how that's coming along. I'm going to do a release here of the pressure. Man, artichokes are so good. If you haven't made your own, you have just got to try this. I mean, can't be any simpler. All right, I'm gonna pull the plug again, and we're gonna, there it goes, it's all released, safe to open. I'm gonna lift it straight up, let the liquid pour in here, and I hope that this one is now cooked. So that would have been the 25 minutes for the first time and an additional 5 minutes. So let's see what we have here. Okay, and you know, I'm thinking about this. We didn't discuss, like, did that taste any different? Having it in this water that was infused with all of these things. And I've got to say, for that one, I like forgot. I didn't even notice. But I'm reminded because I can really smell it here. And I wonder if it makes a difference if it is sealed in a pressure cooker versus steaming it for the infusion. That's interesting. So let me go ahead and take this out of the basket. Ouch! Don't do that at home. And let me show you this one. And let's see if we can pull, there we go, cooked. Okay, you see the difference? And it's still a little bit, I mean, I probably could have gone another minute or so, but it is coming off. So I'm gonna say that this one is cooked and hot and steamy, yikes! So give it a minute and I will taste this and let's go from there. This is really good. This is tender. Yum. It looks like my mic died, so I'm going to go ahead and do a voiceover for the remainder of this video. And what I want to share is that there isn't really a scent. If it's very, very mild and it's coming from what we had infused the water with in the Instant Pot, the onions and all of those goodies, and the flavor is, it actually did have a little bit of a mild infused flavor compared to the one in the pot. So depending on what you're looking for, I would recommend trying that. I also ended up taking the broth and putting it in some super cubes and freezing it. I'm going to use it as a broth in another future soup or whatever. You could put it in something that's a blended, or you can strain out the rest. But this is amazing. Artichokes are wonderful, and I encourage you to try them if you haven't. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and please post a comment. I'd love to hear about your experience with the artichoke and what your thoughts are. Now, don't forget to eat your greens. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the artichokes. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.